beautiful people, and welcome back to another soulful session of Mondays with Mondene. This is where we dive deep into the rhythms of life, love, and liberty. And I'm your host, E.D. Mondene, and I'm ready to groove with you through the beats of the week. And guess what? Today, I'm honored to have Dr. J. Alexander Martin, PhD, a visionary leader in the fashion industry, and a true advocate for urban culture. He leads an empire built on originality, urban influence, and industry-changing music. It's important to note that Dr. Martin attended Harvest Christian University, a Christian university. The brother's a believer. He also served in the United States Navy during Desert Storm, then came out a winner. He got wounded, defended our country, a cool brother. So grab your soda water, get your hog head cheese, get those crackers, kick back and listen. Getting with me into the vital conversation that we're stirring up this week. The beat goes on, but it's up to us to keep the rhythm of democracy alive, and we need to make it kick. Let's do this together. So let's get into it. Hey, Dr. Martin, how you doing?
All right. So good evening, or good afternoon, good morning, one of the three.
Well, it's afternoon here in Portland, and it's evening there, and it's 90 degrees. We've been waiting for 90-degree weather for quite some time, but
90 degrees, wow.
We finally got it. You know, what's the temperature like there?
50, 55. It's cool. Feels like it's going to rain, but I don't think it's going to rain.
That's wonderful New York weather. You know, I love New York, but I can only stay 4 days. After that, it's just too energetic. It's too, you know, it's too invigorating, I guess. Your journey in the fashion world is nothing less than remarkable. And as the co-founder and vice president of the iconic clothing line, FUBU, for us, by us, baby. I tell you what, I ain't never been so proud as I remember when FUBU came out. I had FUBU everything, and and I will have it until the day that I die. You've not only revolutionized the urban fashion, but also paved the way for the inclusivity. I always have a problem with that word. With the motto "For us, by us."
Yes. No, definitely. You know, it's us. It's, you know, the motto stuck with me from day one when I first heard it. You know, I coming home from Desert Storm, Desert Shield. Damon John was making some hats, and I came along and I had some money, and I said, "Here, Damon, I'm going to turn this to a clothing line." And of course, he looked at me like I had 4 or 5 heads, but I knew I had a vision to create, and a vision to create a business that, of course, superseded any other African American business to date, as far as a tune of $6 billion in sales in fashion. So I had a dream, I had some dollars, and I tried to make some sense.
You know, your $5,000 turned into a $1 billion success.
Right. And you got to think about $5,000 back then. I mean, that was a lot of money to have in your hand.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That was like 30 grand, you know.
Yeah, my equivalent, right?
Yeah, you know, he's been able to write this book, The Strength of For Us, By Us, The Secret to Success. And I tell you what, it's fascinating. It's remarkable. It's well written. It's well stated, and you've got to get it. We've got some copies for some of you, and I think that we're going to make these available through the Portland Black Chambers of Commerce. And
it's funny you say that.
Yeah,
I'm on the board. I'm on the board of the National Black Chamber of Commerce.
I know. That's why it's so important to me that not only are you a national board member, but it was important to me because I revitalized and founded the Portland Black Chamber of Commerce here. So I tell you what, that was really important to me, and it's really important the Black Chamber of Commerce in every city be lifted up, and we've got to give some love to it. So why don't you speak to that right now? The the Black Chamber of Commerce and why it's so important to our community.
It's definitely important because it's a vehicle for entrepreneurs, and that's how we all going to grow and become uplifted and and just assimilate. Because again, if we don't have any economic power, we can't achieve anything together. And of course, it goes back to forced bias. I've been on the board, must be about 8 years now.
Yeah.
Has to be about 8 years now. I was supposed to assume the role as the New York State Black Chamber of Commerce president. We started it, and then all of a sudden, COVID came, so we had to kind of close that down.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we'll get. Hopefully, I get a chance when my busy schedule to kind of bring that back to fold and open that up again. But I've been a board member, official board member for about at least 8 years. I still go to our meetings, and since then, our leaders, Chuck DeBow, Chuck not DeBow, it's now last time leaders now Chuck DeBow, but the DeBow family that actually started and ran it are deceased now, but we're keeping that legacy alive and keeping it going.
Well, for our 6th anniversary here in Portland, Oregon, our earmark is to have J. Alexander Martin. I don't know if you know him. We want him to come and be our keynote speaker at our annual banquet. So we're going to be talking to you and reaching to you about that, because I tell you.
Oh, definitely.
Your accomplishment and extensiveness from launching successful clothing lines to consulting for major brands. What drives your creativity? And another thing is this: you've been around money a long time. Your dad was worked for the Depository Trust Company that kind of settled hundreds of trillions of dollars in the world. So working as a clerk and moving up the ladder to being the president, I think that he was at some point.
The vice president.
The vice president. Dude, I mean, woo, you rich.
Well, I don't know about being rich. I mean, I may be rich in knowledge and rich in vision.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
When it comes to, if things are going wrong, I'm just looking at it like it's going right. I mean, I think, seeing that and having that growing up, having my father grow up and looking at him as like the pinnacle of what you can do, if you just kind of keep staying focused, was pivotal in my growth. I think with me, it's just I'm a vision person. I'm not necessarily a goal person, and I think that only worked for me. I'm not sure if it could work for others, but how I look at things is that if you look at it as a goal, you reach that goal and then you stop. Now you're looking at another goal. I just look at everything as vision, and it just keeps me to keep going, and I have a sense of drive that just won't stop, like for anything. And as soon as one business is growing, I look for other businesses to help that business. So it's always a vertical mindset that just keeps me going versus a goal, because I think with a goal, if you want to create a business, you create the business and that's it. How do you scale? And I think with vision, you scale. With goals, you just, create something and hopefully, hopefully it continues. But I just been using this mindset for the longest time, and it's been working for me.
Well, without vision, people don't have drive; they perish, and vision just kind of drives you into the place that you are to. We have a business here. I'm a restaurateur. We have a place called Poshines, and it's a café de la serre. It's Black cuisine, we do Chitlin Fest and all that other kind of stuff. So delving into that piece has been amazing. But I've come from a long line of entrepreneurs too. My father was an exterior decorator, and then my mother and father had a restaurant where her specialty was tripe. And I think that moving out of the norm, education is most definitely an exceller, and it's something that we need to aspire to. But moving outside of that box, if we have to. Everybody wasn't designed for that. But we as African Americans, as we see our history, were equipped for entrepreneurship and resilience. So with your expertise and comprehension, that's the word that I'm looking for, in entrepreneurship and economic development. How do you view the current economic landscape for African Americans, especially given recent challenges and opportunities?
Well, I think because of social media, I mean, social media has a real big play in how we move and what we hear. And I think now today's with your earn your leisures and a lot of people having these podcasts and being able to speak to our upliftment economically more so than just bringing each other down, because there is the bad point of it where people just get on here and have no truth to say. They have their own opinion, and I always say you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own fact.
Yeah.
So I think that with the uprising of people being able to kind of speak about things that never been spoke about, because again, a lot of times in school, you don't learn certain tricks of the trade. You don't learn, and now with like fractional ownership of houses and fractional ownership of stocks and things like that, and now the secrets of wealth are in front of our face, are sitting right there in front of us, to where it was hidden a long time ago. So now it's good, but then again, it could be bad too by people giving someone's knowledge, but they don't really understand the knowledge, because again, I feel that school is the best teacher. And I know that nowadays it's kind of frowned upon because people don't really want to go to school a lot. At least what I'm hearing a lot, or I'm hearing the rhetoric of not going to school. But I think you really need to go to school, because, you can learn something on the internet right today. And I always bring up this phrase. I say, well, if you go on the internet and you try to find something out, right? That's me giving you the answer to the test, but you can't prove your work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's very, very important, because, if someone could teach you something, they could teach you a bad way to do it. They would teach you a good way to do it, or they could just teach you how to do it. But then now, if something else goes wrong and something goes awry, you don't know how to actually maneuver, because you're only relying on what you learned or what you've kind of typed into the computer.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of factors that go into that. How do you actually do it? How do you act? And then if you're trying to follow someone per se, I'm following a methodology, or I'm following a way that somebody else did it, you're just following. But for me, when we started in fashion, we moved our own way. So there was no book and there's no place to go to find out this. There's no mentors. I'm not a guy for a mentor. I'm just not really into mentors. It's just not for me, because I think it stunts my creativity. It stunts my growth.
Yeah.
I can go in and I think that I can go in and look around and listen to someone and hear their thoughts. But again, I'm going to go with my thought, because I'm moving my way. There's no one that's in my place, because no one that's going my direction, because I'm a unique person.
Well,
And
you're visionary.
my vision is going this way, where you can tell me that you did that, but that's what you did. People are like, oh, well, you could do it. No, you can't. You can do what you can do, but you can't do what I can do, because I'm a different person and you're a different person.
Different DNA, different fingerprint.
Right, exactly. You have your own fingerprint.
Don't
look for me for what I'm doing. Look for what you're going to do.
Right. And
go
we
your
were all
own
born
route.
with a purpose.
Right.
We all were born with one special gift, and God gave us a good measure of that gift, and we have to use it or lose it. Moving into the discussions about our upcoming election, what key economic policy or change do you believe that African Americans should be making a priority to foster greater economic empowerment and advancement? It's scary. DEI, diversity, inclusion, and equitability is moving to the West, and we don't see how important that is. And I'm not scared, but I'm concerned.
Now, I'm scared and concerned, and I try not to, get too much into in the political fight. But what I can say is this: yes, DEI to me is definitely something that is there's a fight, or there's a war against it. I think that a lot of times for me, I tell people, okay, so someone's giving you a situation where it's not actually good for you, or it's actually trying to take away from you. Okay, fine. we have to stand up. Sometimes you can go up and stand up for something, or sometimes you can say it's a problem. I'm just going to keep going, and I don't care how much and how many times or how many things you throw at me. I'm just going to keep going. I think that, our drive that we've had for thousands and hundreds of years, always has helped us progress, no matter what someone has thrown at us. So we have to deep down and to get down to those roots of us, our perseverance to keep it going. That forced bias, that theme, that should resonate throughout all of us. That's one thing.
That's right.
And I think another part of it is, I think that, I remember listening when I was a kid, Junction, what's your function? It
What's
was
your function? Yeah.
and all those, and it was teaching you about, government, and you heard it 1,000 times, and you could probably recite it, but did you really understand it? Now I think that what we really have to start understanding is not necessarily who they throw the dart at by saying, the president is in charge of everything, but he's not.
He's not.
We start to release the
He's
thing
not.
that, it's a lot of times, more so than anything, it's your local legislation. It's your local leaders that are really important, that you really need to sit down and really understand, because what they're actually doing, because again, they don't really teach that.
No.
I think that's the argument, and that's what we need to really start understanding more so. It's not just the big giant time. There's a funny thing that people say, everybody want to come and hang out when it's time to party, but nobody, but when it's time when it's working, putting the party together, nobody wants to do it, but they want to come show up. They want a ticket. So my point is, they're pushing that whole narrative to the point where you're looking at the shiny object up here, but you don't know how that shit got shiny.
How that
shit got shiny is the local people, not the super, not the president per se. He's the figurehead, or she maybe one day is the figurehead, but again, she still has to go back and answer to other people. So you blaming everything on him or her to be one day maybe, and it's not even that, because the local legislature is the one that's just pushing the stuff.
There you go.
Or the Congress is pushing stuff against. You have your. I'm gonna call it the East and West. I'm not gonna say the left or the right. I'm gonna say the East and the West.
That's right. It's a big fight.
West, going back and forth. I live on the East, so I got to be, with the East. I got to be on the West. I got to be with the West. No, you have to be with what's best for us and best for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to certain things. If you're going to fight against, now, again, back to the forced bias narrative, it's okay. I can say this and I'll be truthful, that it's okay for everyone else to stick together. But it's sometimes when we stick together, it's almost a problem, or it's always what are they doing, or it's, let's put a fork in that, or let's take away like you said, the DEI. Let's take away all that. Let's do all that. But we have to come together and say, all right, no problem. You don't want us to have that. You want to take that away. You think it's time? That's cool. No problem. We're going to keep going, and you're not going to stop us ever. We're going to all come together, and we're going to win regardless of what you put in front of our face.
That's exactly right. You've talked about our resilience, and then you spoke to one of my favorite junction function, whatever you call it. Mm-hmm. But the Figure 8 song was almost my favorite song.
The Figure 8,
yeah. Listen,
we're dating ourselves. But it's okay.
I'm talking to Dr. J. Alexander Martin, and he's written this book about Black resilience, honestly, and I tell you what, read the book. And we've got some copies, and we're gonna get in touch with our Black Chamber of Commerce, and they're gonna tell you how to retrieve them. They've got a drive. We're looking forward to doing some great things this year coming up. So look for this book, and look at the bottom of your screen and see how you get in touch with the Black Chamber of Commerce right here in Portland, and that's where we're going to go with that. Your journey serves as a testament to the power of determination, creativity, and perseverance. Before we wrap up, is there anything or any advice you'd like to share with us, to our listeners, particularly where those are aspiring to the fashion or entrepreneurial world?
Well, my my biggest, well, I shouldn't say the biggest, but the thing that I always want to leave with people is the fact of the word patience.
Yeah.
You have to have a lot of patience and whatever you do when it comes to business, because it's not going to work the first time, and if it does work the first time, you still got to scale, and that's going to take time. So I just think patience is one of the hardest things that people need to understand when it comes to business. And the second thing that I want to say, it's a little disheartening by what I'm going to say is, but I have to say it. A lot of people come up to me and ask me, well, hey, you know what? What does it take to be an entrepreneur? How should I be an entrepreneur? Or, ask me questions directly towards them actually being an entrepreneur. And the first thing I'll say is, no, you can't be an entrepreneur. Why? Because an entrepreneur would never ask that question.
Bingo. Bingo. We've been talking to J. Alexander Martin, a leader and advocate for social justice, community, and empowerment shaping right here in our country. We're so thankful that you were born, and we're glad to have had this opportunity to talk to you today. And we're looking forward to seeing you later in the year right here in Portland, and we'll
Yes.
talk about that off air. But we got to go. And the beat goes on.
Yes, sir.
But it's up to us to keep the rhythm of democracy alive and kicking, and it's got to kick. And we can't do it apart. The crab and the barrel mentality that Dr. Martin talked about, we got to get rid of that. And we got to keep spreading the love by insisting on more just and an inclusive future. We got to do a special shout out to our sponsors right now. Poshines, not just another restaurant, but it is an institution. We've got Aunties and Tanties Daycare right around the corner. Those women are true mothers. And we've got Adorn Electric. They keep lighting up our lives, bringing special attention to our production team, Andy, Robin, Dion, and Paul. They're not taller than the other, but they all stand small, especially when it comes to me. No, these guys do a great job at doing what we do here. You can meet me here at 8131 North Denver on Sundays, and that's where I kind of do the other thing, preach the gospel a little bit. I don't know. But we're loving you. We're loving seeing you. Dr. Martin, thank you for being here with us, and we're so grateful for your time. Any parting words from you, sir?
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Amen. Happy Mother's Day. By the way, it'll be Monday tomorrow when this airs, but he's saying Happy
Okay.
Mother's Day, to y'all and y'all and y'all and y'all. Keep on grooving, keep on doing, and remember, we got to do it together, for us, by us, and guess what? It's all about us.
Yes.
I talk about a lot about knowing where you came from to know where you're going. Well, I came from the projects of St. Louis, Missouri, and I ended up into the majestic mountaintops of Portland, Oregon. It's been a wonderful journey, and Lewis and Clark took that journey from St. Louis to Portland, and I took it too. It talks about who I am, and as I'm with you often in the in cyberspace or on websites or on the, what do you call it, social media, I want you to know a little bit about me and who I am. This book talks about my fantasies, my failures, my triumphs, and more than that, it talks about the resiliency of being able to continue to go forward regardless of the odds. I'd get a copy. It's called From Maladies to Melodies. And I hope that you enjoy it and give me some feedback. God bless.
Hey, it's time for you to come to Post Shine. Check out that catfish sandwich. Oh my goodness, is that the shrimp po' boy? Man, look at that chocolate chip cake. Man, I need to get over to Post Shines at 8139 North Denver right now because this food looks delicious. Or call if you'd like, 503-978-9000. And don't miss it, you'll be sorry.
In times gone past, we find ourselves making excuses so that people remind that, ooh, I've got to to get home and tend to the brand new missus. I need some time alone. Can't just wait until I finish texting on my phone.